everyone, my name is Lawrence and welcome to this graphic design class. So in today's class we're going to be creating this simple social media flyer. Okay, let's get into it. First of all, we're going to be creating a new file. Create a new file and we'll set our dimensions to 1080 by 1080 pixels, and make sure you check this and make sure your measurement standard is in pixels, and set your resolution to 300 and leave this as the R. Then click on create new. Click on create new. The first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be adding our background color. So first of all, come to our shape tool, our rectangle tool. Then we'll click and draw a rectangle to fill this whole white layer, and here you have it. Or if you want, we can just simply use the paint bucket tool created earlier. Come to here, right click to expand this place here, and click on paint bucket tool and click on the background, and there you have it. Simple. We've created it, our background, this background color we're using. So for our image you'll be using, let's import our image. So this is the image here. We'll click and drag it into Photoshop. Click and drag, wait for it to load. So here's the image here. So we'll just click and drag it and position it just here. Let's drag it inside a bit and click on our tick mark to place it there. So we're going to be adding shadows to this shoe to make it look as if it is actually on this background here. So what we're going to do, we're going to come to this bottom side here. You see this FX sign here, you click on it. Once you click on it, you see option for drop shadow at the bottom. Click on the drop shadow option, then this window will pop up. Then you see your option. When you look at your shoe, you can start noticing the shadow. Let me increase the opacity more. You can see the shadow. So we're going to just take this down a little, take it away from the shoe a little bit, but not too much. Let's take it. You can just simply click and drag it and place it wherever you want, as you have seen. So we want it somewhere just like this. Bring it inside. Okay, so we can now reduce the opacity because we don't want it to make it look as if it is not real. We want to make it look as if it is actually there in the background. So reduce the opacity still a bit and increase it small. Then this one is for the blur, the size of the shadow. As you can see, when I bring it small, you can see the outline of the shoe very clearly, but we don't want that. We just want it to show very briefly. So we'll increase it a bit, but not too much. Let's bring it down, and yeah, 39 is okay. Opacity 59, your distance 94, and your spread 9. So once we're done with that, we'll click on OK. So you can see it looks like our shoe is actually there and levitating on the background. So when we're done with that, we'll lock it to avoid movement. So I've locked it. We'll now start adding our text. Before we add our text, let's start adding our shapes. We'll come here and click on our rectangle tool. Then you come to this top part here and set your radius of the shape you're about to draw to 40 pixels. Change to 40 pixels and press enter. Then you can now come and draw your shape. As you can see, I started drawing mine. So once you have drawn it, draw it to your desired width and height. So we're going to change the fill color to a blue color. So click on here and click on the blue color. For the color code of the hex code of the blue color, this is it here, 023D6B. And for that of the green one, this is the color code, B4E24B. So once we're done with that, we're going to scroll down and remove this stroke from this rectangle we just drew. Click on this to remove the stroke. So once we're done with that, we'll click on our move tool and click on this rectangle. If yours is not showing, come and click this part here so you can see this outline here. So when you see these little dots are for customizing the radius of your shape that you have drawn. Like if you see, if I click and drag one point, you can see I'm controlling the radius of the distance, so just take it back to where it was. So we're going to hold Control or Command on Mac and click at this point here and drag it upwards, as you have seen, like so. Drag it upward. So take note of the number is minus 5.58. Then we'll click on and I'll tick mark here to place it. Once we have placed it, very simple, you will make a copy of it. To make a copy, either press Ctrl J or Command J on your Mac, or simply click and drag it to this plus icon in the layers panel here. So you see I've made a copy of it, so click and drag it down below. So I want to use a different color, different shade of green for this rectangle here. So come to our swatches here, and using this green color. For the green color, this is the color code. Okay, let's try a lighter color. Let's use this color. Yeah, this color is better. So this is the color code we're using. 04AD54. This is it here. 04AD54, and click on OK. Once we're done with that, we'll reduce the size a bit. Okay. Let's use hold Shift on your keyboard and click at this point and reduce it. You can see reducing it. Yeah, this is okay. So once we're done with that, we'll click on our tick mark, and we'll still do the same process for this one. We'll hold Control and click at this point to make it match together with this part here. So yeah, this is okay. So click on our tick mark. When we're done with that, we'll just place it right outside it. Let's click and drag this outside a bit and increase the size. Let's increase the size. Yeah, that's okay. So place this here and drag it up, and do the same thing for this one. Drag it here, drag it here, place this here. So resize it just like this. Once I'm done with that, just take a copy of this by holding Ctrl J or Command J. Then you now click and drag out of it, as you have seen. So we'll place this here, and we'll change the color to the dark blue color that we used earlier. So as you can see, now we can start placing our text. Let's double click on our layers panel to pop up our layers panel back. So once we are done with this, what we want to do, you can simply click here and drag it up to have enough space for seeing your layers. So once we're done with this, we're going to start adding our text. So come on, type, go to our type tool and click and type fashion. Type on fashion, and we'll click on our tick mark. So come here under our Windows panel and click on character. You can see this thing will pop up here. So we want to make this a semi-bold italic. I want to make this a bold italic. Then we'll click on this to change the color to a white color and click on OK. Then we'll come back to our move tool and drag this into our text here. So we can increase the size by dropping down this menu here and increasing the size. Let's make it bigger a bit. Let's make it 24. Okay, so make 24. Bring it here. Then time to type next text. We'll type sale and click on a tick mark. Then we'll make this text size at 22 pixels, 22 points. Then we'll come back to our move tool and drag this and drop it here. We're done with that. We're going to type our last, no, not the last text. Yes, the text was the type. Then we'll click here and type offer valid. Click on enter throughout April. So once we're done with that, we'll click this and drag it to the side here. Then we'll come and reduce the size and change this to a medium italic. Once I've changed it to a medium italic, Control A and change it to a medium italic. And we'll reduce the text size and bring it down a bit to say 9 points. And we'll come and reduce the line spacing. Bring the line spacing to around 9 points. Yeah, that's okay too. So once I've done that, we'll click on our tick mark and we'll drag this and place it just here. So now we're going to do the same thing we did for these shapes to this text. Hold your control and click at this point and drag up, as you have seen. Remember the number we used before. You can just use your eye to align it to what we have worked on. You can see, just can stretch it out. Do the same thing for this side. Just try and make it look very okay with what you're working with, and yeah, that's okay. Click on your tick mark. Do the same thing for this one. Hold control and drag it down and position it correctly. click on your tick mark, or you can still arrange the side a bit, and yes, okay, click on our tick mark. Do the same thing for this text. Let's reduce the text size a bit. Let's take it down to 8 point. Yeah, that's okay. So hold Control again, and or Command on your Mac, and resize it. Hold this part and drag it down. And once we're done with that, click on our tick mark. You can see we've started putting our shapes, putting our text into our design. So before we go far, let's add shadows to this rectangles too. So click on here again, remember here this FX, and click on drop shadow. But this time we're not going to make the shadow too far, we're going to keep it close to what we're working with. You can see it's too far, we don't want that in our design. So reduce the distance and reduce this size, bring it down a little bit, and reduce the opacity. So let's reduce the distance a bit and increase the size a bit, and the opacity just small. Okay, so once you're done with that, what we want to paste this effect on this remaining ones, but we don't want to be going back there. So what you do, you select these two other rectangles by holding Control and clicking each of them. Then once you have done that, you right click and click on, first of all, before you do that, you click on this one and right click and click on copy layer style. Instead of copied layer style, it copies the shadow on whatever effect you add to it. So click on this and click on this and click on paste layer style. You can see it have pasted layer style to these two rectangles here. You can see very simple, I've pasted layer style. So let's just drag this here and yeah, let's resize this, and let's resize the box, the rectangle with Control, and drag it down a bit and click on tick mark. So this is okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to group this together. Let's select this one, then scroll down to the first rectangle, hold Shift and click. Then you see this folder icon here at the bottom. Click on it to group all of them together, so you have a neat work. So your work will not be just scattered. So now we're going to add in another text. We're going to click and type new arrival. New arrival. Once we're done with that, click on our tick mark. We're going to make this bolder. So we'll come to our character panel here, and we're going to use a bold italic. Yeah, that's okay. So increase the text size. Let's take it up to 10. Yeah, 10 is, I think 10 is okay. Let's check it. Okay, now let's make it 11. 11, okay. Yeah. So we'll do the same thing. Hold Control and click and drag up. And yeah, that's okay. So click on our tick mark. Click on our tick mark, and we'll drag it and place it just here, just in between the blue and the green background, so that it will look to blend. So once you're done with that, you can choose to add shadow or not. So we'll come here and we'll drag this inside this group here. You can see when you hover over this, drag it over this group, you can see a blue line. That blue line allows you to tell you that it is inside the group, it will drop. So you release it and it will drop inside the group. So when you click on this eye icon here, you can see it will hide everything for you. So what we are done with this side of the design, we're going to lock it to avoid movement by mistake. So once we're done with that, next I'm going to be adding our social media icon. So come here and be adding our social media icon one by one. Start adding our social media icon and our social media icon. So adding our social media icon, we'll click and drag this inside the background here. So we're going to start resizing it one by one and placing it at the top left corner. Just resize it, and we'll go back there and be able to work on them later. So let's resize it again, and let's drag this outside a bit and resize it still. Click on our tick mark. Then for the last one, the Instagram pasting, we'll click and drag it here and place it just here. So once we know that, click on our tick mark. Click on our tick mark to help us in our design. I forgot to tell you. So when working on design, guides really matter. You have to work with your guide so that your work will be aligned. So that we want to go over and make our design not look this thing. We're going to be adding guide margins to our design. So you're going to put your margins as so 30 pixels throughout, and click on OK. So let's zoom into this top part here by holding Ctrl plus 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 or Command plus, and to zoom in, you can zoom into this part here. Then you can use these sliders to drag and toggle and pan around your work. So we're going to start arranging this. So I want the Facebook one first. Place the Facebook first, then the Instagram next, then the Twitter. So we're going to have to make sure that they are all the same size. First of all, let's make sure they are evenly spaced and they are on the same ground level. So we'll drag a line, a guideline from this ruler part. If your ruler is not active, you come to view and you click on rulers here. You can see, or you can simply press Ctrl R on your keyboard. So once I've done that, we'll click from this ruler part and drag. You see a guideline will come outside. So try and place it above the Twitter icon, so that we are going to use the Twitter icon as a reference to the other designs, other icon. So the Instagram icon is okay. We want to reduce the Facebook icon, so let's drag, and yeah, you can see that pink line shows that it's aligning equally to all of them. So once you're done with that, you can just simply click and drag it up, drag it out of your design once you're done, and finish. So once you're done with that, we're going to group them together. So remember, click on this folder here, then we'll come to here and click on color overlay. We want them white color. So since we have grouped them together, the changes we make to them will be the same thing throughout. So once I'm done with that, we'll click on drop shadow. If yours is not white color, on the color overlay, you click on here and change it to a white color and click on OK. So we're adding a drop shadow to this. So reduce the opacity and reduce the size. We don't want it too much. Reduce the size and reduce the distance. So let's take it down a bit, increase the size a bit, and yeah, that's okay. So click on OK once we're done. So we can choose to resize it if we want. Since we have grouped everything together, we can resize it all at once. So I prefer mine smaller. So you click on Ctrl 0 or Command 0 on your system to zoom back out. So once you're done with that, you can see our design here. If you want to still make the reduction to these icons, your social media icons, you can still reduce it again if you want. It's going to bring mine down a little bit. So next we're going to be adding our logo of our brand. So we'll come here, and this is the logo we'll be using. So click this and drag it into the background. As you can see, there's it here. So we'll reduce the size and place it at the top right corner of our design. So next time that we'll click on our tick mark, then we'll do the same thing. We'll still zoom into this top part here. Once we zoom in, we'll click and drag this here. Yeah, this okay. You can use reference to what you're working on here. You can zoom out a bit so that you can use your social media icon as a reference to it. So you can resize it and make it look almost the same size with social media icon, depending on whether that's what you want to do in your design. So once we're done with that, we want to still do the same thing and add a color overlay. We want the white color for this. So you can either choose to do a color overlay or a gradient overlay. So we're just going to use a color overlay and just make it a white color and still add our shadow to it. When you click on drop shadow, it add the shadow of the previous settings that we used for the social media icon. So that's okay. So we'll click on our tick mark, then we'll drag this and bring it out a little bit. So yeah, that's okay. So next we're going to be adding the name of our shop. Type shoe mart. Shoe mart. So once we're done with that, we'll highlight this mat and give it the blue color that we're working on. Once you have highlighted this, when you're still editing, you click on this colors panel on the option bar. Then you see this icon, this pointer, this circle with a dot in the center, like as if it's a gun pointer you're shooting. So once you see it, when you click on any color, you can see this color here changes. Once you click on different color, you can see the color is changing. You can see different color. So once you click on the blue color, because that's what we want, and click on OK. So once we're done with that, we'll click on our tick mark, come to our characters panel, and change this to a simple bold. We just want it bold. I'm going to reduce the size to an 8 point. So once we're done with that, we'll come back to our move tool, undock this panel and drag this and place it under this design here. So once we're satisfied with where we want it, we'll zoom out back by pressing Ctrl 0. Once we've zoomed out, you can see our design is taking shape little by little. So next we're going to be adding our contact info to the bottom here. So click and drag and draw same shape here and make it big. So after I've done that, you can come here to your properties bar. Once you scroll, we don't want a color, we just want a white outline. So we just click on this part here and remove the color. So once you're done with that, click outside and click on the stroke and change the stroke to a white color. Click back outside and scroll down and change the stroke size to 3 pixels and click enter. So once you're done with that, we'll zoom in to this part. You can see, so we want this to be very round, so we'll click here and make it round. Yeah, that's okay. So once we're done with that, we'll click here and we'll add our WhatsApp icon here and we'll add our contact info. Let's add our WhatsApp icon first. So this is our WhatsApp icon, so we'll click and drag it into our work. So let's click and drag this down and click here to resize it. But you can zoom out to resize it. You can simply use this place here and reduce it by clicking and dragging backward, dragging to the left. Drag to the right, it increases it, so you have it smaller here. So we'll now drag it and reduce and reduce and reduce till we're satisfied with the size we want. So once we're done, we'll now place this here and yeah, click on our tick mark. So we'll now come to our layers panel back, double click here and expand it up a bit. So we'll come to our FX and change it and add a color overlay and the same shadow to it. So you don't need to be toggling it again because it is going to save the previous settings you did for the previous work you have done with it. So you can see the color overlay is white. Click on drop shadow and that's the shadow we want and click on OK. So next we're going to be adding our text. So click here and type contact. Okay, you can see it's in capital letter. We don't want that. What you're going to do, you're going to come to your character panel and uncheck this here. So click on contact. You can see now it's better. Contact us today. You click on enter. You type your number. You want to type mine. You can type yours if you want. Then 817-069-8283. So very simple. Click on enter and type call or text. Simple. So I'm just making a few tweaks to this text here. You're going to highlight this contact us today. Then we'll come to our character panel and I'm going to change it to a medium. So we'll do the same thing for this +234. We'll change it to a medium. I want to do it for this color and change it to a medium too. Sorry, change it to a medium. Once we're done with that, we'll click on our tick mark, go back to our move tool and drag this inside here. So we're going to reduce the size to make it fit. Let's pick a 6 point. So we're going to reduce the line spacing so that it can fit into this box because the line spacing is too much. So we'll come here and reduce the line spacing. Let's bring it down to 6 points. Yeah, it is better. So we'll just drag this and drop it just here. So let's drag this to outside a bit and bring it outside a bit and take this inside to a bit. Yeah, so Control 0. So you can see our design is starting to take shape. Let's reduce this logo here, it's too big. I'm gonna tick mark, do the same thing. So show mark icon, let's come here and reduce the size. Let's give it a 7.2 and bring it out of the wall a bit. And yeah, this is okay. So we can stay zoom in and let's make a few changes and let's make it 6.9. Sorry, 6.9. Click on enter. I want it to be 6.9. Then come back to our layers and increase the opacity back to 100%. So let's zoom out back and yeah, this is okay. So next we're going to add in some few shapes as form of design in our work. So come here and click on our ellipse tool. So I'm going to draw a small circle. When you draw a circle, you click and drag, but you see it's an irregular circle. So when you start drawing your circle too, if you want to get a perfect circle, you hold shift on your keyboard and you see it's perfect. So we're just going to resize the bit and drop it here. So we'll come here and remove this stroke and change the fill color to that other green color we used. So once I've done that, you can choose to zoom in, or you can uncheck this box here so that you can freely move this around without worrying about it was edges trying to align to resize it. So I'm going to place one here, Control J, and copy it. You can either copy and drop one at the bottom here, but we're going to change one to a blue color. So we'll come to our swatches here, let's click on the blue color we used. It automatically changes it to the blue color. So if you want, you can come back to your transform panel and zoom into this part here and reduce it if you want. I want to reduce mine a bit, click my tick mark, zoom out a bit, come down and make a copy and drop one at the bottom here. And then next I'll make a copy of this one and drop by this side here. Once I drop this one here, I'm going to come to my properties panel here, and I'm going to remove the fill. This time I'm going to be using the stroke, so I'm going to add a white stroke and increase the size of the stroke to 2 pixels. So you can see this is the shape here. So if you want to make a copy of it, Control J, then you can click Control J, come to our layers, or you can just come here and just click and drag and take this up a bit, click and make a copy of it, as you have seen. So you can now move it around and take one out. Let's just take this one away and place it at the bottom. Take this one and place it just here. So once I've placed that one there, I'm going to make a copy of it too again. Control J and click on it and drag it to this bottom side here. So let's zoom out a bit, or let's use this here and move to the right. I want to place this directly under the shoes, so we're going to click on this and place this here and place one here. Make a copy of it, make a copy of it twice. Control J, J, make a copy of it twice. So we're going to drag this out and drag the other one out. So you can see these pink guidelines aligning for you and telling you that they are equally spaced. Once we're done with that, now click on Control 0. Then you can see, very simple. Created this very simple social media flyer. If you want, you can maybe increase the size of your shoe. If you want it bigger in your work, maybe let me just unlock it. Once you unlock it, you click on this one so that you can see it and toggle it and resize it the way you want. So I want mine bigger. I'm going to make mine bigger. I should increase the size and place it just here. See, or if you want to play with your shadows and resize your shadow, you know how to do it. Just come back here and just double click on this drop shadow under the particular layer you want to work on, and these windows will pop up and you can take your shadows the way you want. And see which putting it the way you want and click on OK. So very simple. And in case you want to save your work, you come here and you click on the export and you click on export as, or you can just click click save as, save a copy. When you click on save a copy, you have the option of saving it the way you want. You drop down this panel here, save as type, and you now click on either JPEG, this JPEG here, and type the name of, let me say, social media flyer. Then we'll now click on save. Then this place will pop up, so we'll click on OK. You click increase it to the maximum so you have very clear work. Then you'll click on OK. Or if you want to export the other way, you come here and click on export and click on export as. Then this window will pop up and you can see your work here. If you want to have a very clear quality of your work, you can just choose PNG. Let's click on PNG, then you now click on export. Once you have clicked on export, this window will open again. You now type what you want it as. I want social media flyer, social, and just click on save to export it in a very high quality but in a PNG format. Then once you're done with that, you can simply just locate it. You can say come back here and locate it. So this is your work here. This is your design here. Very simple. So this is the end of the tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.